greeting everybody with a smile. Hello, folks. Welcome on into our live and interactive live stream here on a Friday night here at MBE. Now, as it says in the title, it's unplanned. We've not got a thing to talk about in terms of structure, and I think John is having a bit of a mental breakdown. How you doing, John?
I'm praying people come in and just comment something to give us something to tag onto here.
John, I'm not being funny here, but
well, we've got a couple of things to talk about.
When the cameras aren't rolling, we talk and we talk and we talk and we talk.
I can pull my guitars out and
not,
start
exactly.
playing or something.
That's it, the intermission, folks, if it goes that well. But yeah, we just thought we've not done
I've got back there.
Live stream in a little while. We've been doing a lot of reactions. You might not have noticed. You might have noticed. We've also been doing some watch-alongs and some film reviews as well, but we thought we would just come on and talk for a little while. If anyone comes in, fine. If you don't come in and you're watching this in playback, that's fine as well, folks. You can leave a comment down below. And remember, hit that subscribe button. It's much appreciated. John, there's a couple of things I do want to talk about, just to get off the chest. No, I'm not talking. I've not seen it, so I can't.
Have you seen any of the accolades, Stephen?
Yeah, I've not seen a thing.
I've not seen anything either. And I tell you what, we will speak about that because there's been some horrific stuff getting thrown at the Star Wars fandom, and I've got something to fucking say about that. Yeah. I'm getting it, but I'll let you go. We'll get into that.
Okay.
I do want to speak about it and why I'm not going to watch the Acolyte.
No, I'm not.
Why I'm done with Disney Star Wars outside of Andor.
Yeah, well, Andor I'm looking forward to, John.
Because it's fucking...
we can talk about it. I've got my thoughts as well on that. But yeah, a couple of things, John, was a few people, quite a lot of people actually, have been saying when he's doing Quarter Factory Season 3, when he's doing Panchayat Season 3, and when he's going to be doing Mirzapur Season 3. Well, that's not out yet, but we will be doing it, but it'll not be any time soon, folks. As most people know who follow the channel, they know that we do have a strike on the channel at the moment. Yeah. Similar position we were in last year, when we had 2 strikes and we thought we were going to lose the channel, but we want to just keep our heads down just now, and perhaps we do keep an eye on other channels who are doing reactions to just to see if it's safe to do them. We will be getting round to them. We're not saying we're not doing them. We will be doing them, and we will be doing it with our new team member, Anna Mina. I'm actually just looking at the amount of people that have done Panchayat already.
Yeah,
that's okay. 2 weeks ago,
it's the same guy. It's what say Ray.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to see. But John,
what was the other one? Quarter Factory as
well, is out. Yeah. But we will get down to them. We will get them done, and we will get them in the can. But at the moment, we'll not be doing them, just to be on the safe side. Yeah,
there's not many reacting, and that's always our barometer for these kind of things
as well, John. So we have to make sure we don't do anything.
The Viral Fever, Contagious something, the parent company. Yeah, they were the primary sort of offenders for coming after us. And claiming content, and not just claiming the content, which we don't mind. We've been around doing this for quite some time now.
Many moons,
as they like to say. We don't mind content being claimed because we never proclaim to have any ownership of the content. We're fully aware it's copyrighted content. I personally think it's acceptable because it's freedom of... Well, it's not freedom of speech. What's it called again? It's like commentary. Yeah. Fair usage. We are going in and we're critiquing it, we're watching it, we're breaking it down on a technical level, we're praising it in the case of TVF. So I feel that we are demonstrably altering the content because we are breaking it down, we're going away and speaking about it incrementally. People don't like that. We get comments even today on war. Worst reaction ever. Why do you keep speaking? Why is the screen disappearing? And I'm going to address that as well, but and I'll do it in a minute. But TVF sadly didn't see it that way, and they were claiming a lot of the content and striking, putting strikes on the channel, which I feel is egregious and unnecessary. But obviously that means we have to box clever.
Yes. In
regards to Quarter Factory, Panchayat. It's a shame, Stephen, because we both love those shows. I fully enjoyed Quarter Factory, and I'm a shit kicker from Glasgow who's not had any interactions with engineering or mathematical sort of stuff, but I connected with the characters. It's a very universal human story, and Panchayat is just a wondrous show. It's one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. Just a really well written, simplistic story. It's built around characters and real human characters that are bondable, relatable. But sadly we just can't react to them just now, and a shame because we love them.
We love them, John. It's kind of killing me that we're not watching them because everyone's talking about it, and we've got to avoid that as well.
I mean, we could watch it and do a review.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it kind of ruins it, doesn't it? Because a lot of people do enjoy our reactions on these series. I know we talk about the negatives at times with people just passing through the channel, but in terms of community, our community are very supportive of us doing these watch-alongs, and I did put a post up on our community tab earlier on today because I just thought we're not really saying too much why we're not doing it. We're just kind of saying, yeah, we'll get around to it, that kind of thing. That's the reason. We just have to, as you said, John, that's probably the best description. We just have to be box clever at the moment with certain things. And that's why we've been doing so many trailers at the moment. Some of them will take off, some of them will just flippity-flop. Doesn't matter. It's just to let you guys know we're still doing the channel, we're still passionate about the channel, and we've got lots of things that we want to do going forward as well in terms of live streams. And Anna Mia, who's joined us just last month, who we've not really introduced as such in any sort of long form, and for you guys to get to know our new team member, but we will be doing probably a stream at some point, or maybe just a pre-recorded sort of interview with her. It doesn't sound like that would be appealing for Anna Mia, but I think it's just so she can get to know you guys. You can get to know as well.
Back in the day.
Yeah, Bartek. Yeah,
Bartek.
And really
I enjoyed that a lot.
And we can talk about obviously things like film and you know, what got you into film and that kind of thing. Like we do with a lot of people that do come on the show and on our website as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, John. There's a lot of things obviously we want to do. In terms of live streams, like we used to do. We used to do the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday thing. I don't think we can do that as much now, obviously, but changing the T-shirts, pretend it's another day.
That was fucking dark days. That. I think that was my idea, to be fair. Let's put on a different hat and T-shirt.
Yeah.
And kid on, it's a different day. No, you're recording in the exact same night.
Yeah.
You're not fooling anybody. The news is a week old by the time that you drop a video.
John, if you want, if we can just get into this acolyte stuff just now, because
before that, I want to address some of the comments, Stephen, because we seem to get these same consistent comments again and again on the channel about our reaction style and why we cut away and why the screen disappears. Well, that'll not be happening moving forward because it will be a different technique. The screen will be getting blurred when we're speaking, and the reason behind that, just think, I mean, people probably won't understand me. It'd probably be better coming from Stephen. But the reason that we do the edits in that way is quite simply because of copyright. Because it's, like we said, with the TVF stuff, content that costs money to make and other people own it.
Yeah.
So when we don't own the content, we don't have full creative freedom to put that content out in its fullest form on YouTube or any other video platform. So we have to minimise the screen-on-screen time. And when there's no screen on screen, invariably me and Stephen are speaking. Yeah. So I deliberately edit it down. There's long periods where we aren't speaking, believe it or not. Not that long, because I do like to speak. And we kind of discussed this before we come on, Stephen. It may be a cultural clash where different people from different walks of life and parts of the world maybe consume content differently.
Yeah.
Perhaps in India, they're a lot more quiet and connected. And certainly when you're in a theatre, you shut the fuck up. But when I'm in the house watching something, I do like speaking to people and like, discussing what's happening. That's just the way I roll.
Yeah. John, you're not the only one. I've watched many of reactions throughout the world, and there's people having conversations as the film is rolling on. People have to remember as well, and it has been said, and listen, this isn't a complaint or anything like that, but it has to be addressed. Because I don't think people fully understand at times that they'll say, you need to be quiet so you can hear what they're saying. It doesn't matter what they're saying because we can't understand what they're saying. We read the subtitles, and we read the subtitles while we speak. We can do that. We can do two things at once.
Just to be clear, I'm not... Look,
we're not.
I'm not Einstein, but I did do an IQ test again the other day because I wasn't happy with the initial score. I did get 127. So I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm reasonably intelligent and I can read and speak at the same time.
John, I think once, and people that come to the channel, you know, our community, know our format of doing the watch along 3 days, part 1, 2 and 3 now, and then we do the movie review. And that's when people will see, they did understand it, they did get it, they did pick up on those things when they see the sort of breakdown. And that's what the response I'll give to the trolls is, just wait till you see our review and then you'll know that we paid attention. That's the best way to address
To be
it.
fair, Stephen, I think some of them aren't perhaps trolls either. I think it's just they want to watch the content a specific way and it maybe rubs them up the wrong way. It's not personal.
Yeah.
They're just giving us maybe some feedback. But when you hear it again and again, and you do go and watch maybe a Cine Desi and you see they're doing the exact same thing, but they're delivering less content from the actual show they're watching, and they're maybe saving the rest for Patreon or something. It's like, what? And they all do it. They all do the same thing. The talk, it's the whole point of a reaction, as you break down what you're seeing. If you want to watch it in its fullest form, you can. I mean, you can do it. But yeah, the acolyte, Stephen.
Let's get on it.
I'm watching a lot of channels, the critical drinker and whatnot, fellow Scotsman. I don't always agree with him in a political sense and some of the things he believes in, but you can't deny the man has a way with words and he's got a brilliant analytical brain, and he's one of the sort of modern day go-tos when it comes to cinema or TV shows, much like a Stuckman or a Jeremy Jans.
Not so much Stuckman these days.
Yeah, he's kind of sold himself down the river with not criticising people because he doesn't want to step in toes, because he's wanting to be a director now, which is fair enough, but you should be able to have autonomy to criticise something and say it's absolutely shite if it's absolutely shite. Jans has been tanning it, and also the critical drinker, I think he popped out after episode 3. So I've been watching these videos. I've got no intentions of watching this, Stephen. When I seen I forget her name, Headley or something, who was involved in the sort of show running aspect, I tried to give it a chance initially, but the more I thought of it, I just simply can't back any show that is created or is the sort of brainchild or whatever of someone who was so closely connected to such an odious human being like Harvey Weinstein. I just simply can't give my eyeballs and my attention to something that's came from an individual like that, who I'm not going to speak too in depth because I don't know the sort of the true reality of her relationship and what she knew and what she didn't know, but yeah, I mean, I've got real issues on a sort of a human level with watching any content from someone like that. But obviously I've heard from various sources that it's a car crash, and once again it's just indicative of Star Wars under Disney. I can count in one hand, and I could probably come from a certain part of Scotland where it's almost like Chernobyl on steroids and only have maybe limited fingers and still be able to count in one hand the good content that's come out in a Star Wars sense from Lucasfilm since Disney took over.
Yeah.
It's a fucking car crash.
I'll be honest with you, I've kind of made my peace with Star Wars and where it's at, John, in terms of what they're putting out now. And, you know, for so long we had 3 films. For too long, probably, we only had 3 films, you know, and that was my period of Star Wars. And obviously the prequels coming out in the late 90s through to the early 2000s was enjoyable to watch, but probably didn't have the same rewatchability at the time. I can probably appreciate it a little bit more in terms of storytelling. And then obviously we had some anime stuff, you know, sort of to bridge that gap before we got the sequel trilogy, which obviously had high hopes for it. And obviously bringing back the original 3 was sort of a big selling point to that. And the continuation story of Han, Luke and Leia, which it turned out it wasn't really. They were just disposable characters for the sequels. But, you know, I've came to the point now where I don't want to say I don't really care. Because obviously I'm looking forward to seeing Andor Season 2. And there'll be other things that will come out that I do like. There's so much content now out there, you know, from Star Wars that I think very much like Marvel, there's certain things that I would just go, you know, something I don't really fancy that. I'll not bother with that. And although Kevin Feige will say you need to watch this to understand this, I don't. It doesn't really bother me that in terms of that What If series. I just didn't get near it. I know you gave a couple of episodes.
I kind of get bored with it. I'm not going to lie.
And I've just made my peace that it's the same as Star Wars. There's going to be things that come out that just don't appeal to my demographic, doesn't appeal to my age range or the things that I enjoyed when I was a kid. And I'm okay with that because I'm nearly 50, John. I'm not going to get all my fucking knickers in a twist about some politically motivated TV series that doesn't really mean anything to me. And I don't have to watch it to really it's not going to take anything away from that original trilogy in the sense of watching that. And certainly with the sequel trilogy, it's not ruined my enjoyment of the original trilogy.
I was going to actually ask you that, Stephen, because I've not actually went back and watched the original trilogy of Star Wars in a good number of years now, and it used to be an annual thing for me.
Yeah, I think because there's certain elements that have been soured, John, with some decisions made about Anakin and his redemption and his sacrifice that's sort of been kind of ruined in a way, if you like. But do you know something? You can just...
And now his immaculate conception by the Force has kind of been retconned and ruined. He was supposed to be the one.
There seems to be this thing, I don't know if it's Kathleen Kennedy or if it's just the people around her that are hell-bent on dismantling everything that was built up for so long ago. I don't really get it myself, but I've not seen it. I'm not really wanting to see it. I've seen a couple of the Critical Drinkers reviews on episode 1, 2 and 3, I think it was. And I don't even want to watch any more of his reviews because I'm like, but it's as entertaining as they are, I'm like, I'd have to see it to really understand some of the things he's talking about.
Spent $200 million on this. I mean, they're just throwing money away.
This was prior to The Mandalorian season 3 coming out, Andor season 1, and Ahsoka season 1 coming out. This was already they were announced, so it was something they had to carry through. At the time, I didn't really like the sort of commentary from the showrunner. This person, I don't know her name.
Something Headley or something like that.
Rubbing people up the wrong way and things like that during the promotion of it. And I was like... And I think she probably did make a comment that this wasn't for a certain demographic.
Yeah, I mean, right off the bat, that's just a nonsense. That.
So you're going to put people off right away by saying things like that. And I have seen, obviously, the Rotten Tomatoes score on the audience score. I think it was 15% at the time. It's probably...
It dipped down to as low as 13 and then went back up to 14. And that was another sort of bone of contention with the showrunner and just people involved moaning about review bombing in a negative sense, but then there was a sort of flip when it became the all-time lowest user-reviewed thing on Rotten Tomatoes. People were positively reviewing it to get the score back up. So there's a sort of hypocrisy involved there. But yeah, that whole nonsense, Stephen, about it's not for certain people, right off the bat, it got my back up with the Terminator Dark Fate movie. Charlie's Angels attacking certain people. It's not certain demographics' fault that you are creating politically motivated shows and making everything an agenda instead of just giving high caliber content, entertainment to people. If you make a really good quality show that's well written with brilliant acting and it remains faithful to the foundations of that universe, then people will be on board with it and love it. Andor was a slow burner. People now universally love Andor because it's Star Wars down to a T. Brilliant actors. Skarsgård, I'm blanking his name, Stellan Skarsgård. Some of the best acting we've seen in Star Wars. Diego Luna back, some of the best acting we've seen in Star Wars. Gritty sort of perspective of the universe we've not seen since Rogue One at the start. That's Star Wars done differently. It's diverse and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And the same with Ahsoka. I really enjoyed Ahsoka. Diverse, brilliant Star Wars. It's not politically motivated. They're not ramming agendas down your throat. No one wants that. No. They want to get away from that. That's real life. Yeah. People want to escape real life. Real life shit. They want escapism. They want to get away from their troubles by watching something in a galaxy far, far away a long time ago. They don't want 2024 politics, which was quite frankly fucking bullshit anyway, rammed down their throat. They want away from it. So they need to get out of this rut they're in where they're intentionally pissing off 50, 60, as much as maybe 70% of their audience. It's financially idiotic. Yeah. And it's just idiotic in general. You want people to like your content, not to hate it.
The next thing that they have to do is Andor season 2. Yeah. If they try something else, it's going to have the Solo effect.
Yeah.
In terms of release.
And they're back there
Solo
again.
Was so badly affected by The Last Jedi because it was the next thing that came out. It was unreal because people were still butthurt, I suppose. I mean that in a constructive way. I'm not having a go at people that didn't like The Last Jedi. I thought it was enjoyable at the time in terms of production value. I thought it was a very well constructed film in terms of sound design and visuals. Story was lacking. Yeah. But obviously watched it again. I thought, I don't know about this. But what I'm saying is Andor season 2 has to be the next thing that comes out. If it's not and it's something else, it's going to suffer.
Yeah.
Andor season 2 will not suffer because people are looking forward to season 2 of that, and we know what it runs up to. I think.
Yeah, it's the events of Rogue One. Yeah, just prior to Rogue One.
I think it runs right up to that. So
Yeah.
it's going to be very interesting how they execute that. But I don't know. I'm not fussed about the Acolyte, and it's obviously set prior to the events of I don't know how many years before the
It's
Phantom
1,000,
Menace.
100, 500 years or something.
And I don't really care. It's not going to affect my viewing pleasure of the original Star Wars films or anything like that.
Continuing sort of demonising of Jedi as well in the universe. They're trying to turn the Jedi into the bad guys, and it's just crazy. Star Wars was really simplistic in the original trilogy. It was good v evil, and light versus darkness. The Jedi were the good guys, and George kind of was guilty of it as well, with showing the hubris of the Jedi in the prequels.
Yeah.
But in the main, they're the good guys, and the Sith, and spawn of the Sith who are maybe not viewing themselves as the Sith disciples. I don't know, darkness. I don't know what the fuck they were calling them. Expanded universe shit. But it's very simple. Good v bad.
Yeah, I mean, there was one thing that was kind of did intrigue me about this was obviously Carrie-Anne Moss being involved in this, and I thought, well, if she's putting her name to it, there's got to be something there. And then I think it was maybe a couple of days after the first episode dropped, she was killed off within 5 minutes. And I thought, nah, definitely out now. Because if I was going to tempted to watch it, it would have been for her. The rest of the cast, obviously Daphne Keane we know, and I think...
Amanda Stenberg,
your fella from Squid Game.
Yeah, he's in there. Yeah.
I don't know his name, but
I'll find him. Lee Jung Jae.
Yeah.
Lee Jung Jae.
As the critical drinker calls him, Squid Game guy.
Squid Game guy.
Yeah, so for that, I probably would have, but I'm not really that fussed. I don't think there's a lot of that's Jonas guy. Is that not the guy who played Chewbacca?
He played Chewie.
Yeah. So
I know him
they're
as well.
getting some familiar faces back, but it's certainly not something that's really appetising for me in any sense. The storyline doesn't sound that great. There's not any big names in there. Carrie-Anne Moss was probably the biggest name, and she was killed off, which I thought was a strange thing to do. And it's
just not Star Wars for me. It's fan fiction. It's bullshit. It's expensive made fan fiction, but ultimately, for me, it's becoming more and more apparent.
Smile Ken.
I mean, I'll cherry pick the good content and just completely ignore the shit. And that's becoming harder and harder because there is a real dearth of good content. And just the final thing I would say is just, again, this toxicity in modern day life and just the idiocy you see on social media where people are making up personas and whatnot and consistently going after guys like Star Wars Theory, who, like us, Stephen, put themselves in front of a camera and you see it warts and all. They show you what they are. There's no hiding you're in front of a camera for as long as this guy's been doing it, and also we've been the same to an extent, not on his level, but when you've been on a platform for 5 years, 10 years, people know what you're about.
Yeah.
If you hide behind a sort of moniker, so if that's what you call it on social media, made up bollocks, and you're attacking people, you're a troll, and then you admit it, it just shows you what's going on in society. It's a broken society we're living in. And it seems to be manifesting itself.
There seems to be a split.
A lot of ways.
There seems to be a split society one way or another, and there doesn't seem to be any grey areas. But listen, it's one of those things that if they've got any sense, they'll learn from it and move on. I think I probably said this 5 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the final thing I'll say. What you're saying there, Stephen, you mentioned it previously. It's like Solo after The Last Jedi. We're right back here.
Yeah.
Wait, do you think we'll ever get a Star Wars film again within the next 5-10 years? I just don't see how they can release a Star Wars film with what they're doing with the fandom.
This TV series, this web series, whatever you want to call it, it's put the whole Mandalorian film in jeopardy now.
Yeah, because it's just they're destroying the fan base.
I don't think anyone's that interested in it now, and the only thing they're clinging on to now is Andor, and it's only because we're invested in that world, because we had a full season which was enjoyable. As you said, it was a slow burner, but you could buy those first 2-3 episodes.
Yeah,
it's some of the best Star Wars that's been made in George Lucas's time as well, not just Disney, but it was a great web series because you had the right people at the helm that understood what people wanted. I thought that was the purpose of entertainment. I thought that was the purpose of production companies developing and producing good content was for the masses, that they invested in it,
Yeah.
you know, for your audience. Why do you want to make stuff that's not for your audience? It doesn't make any sense, you know. Unless you're trying to gain a new audience from different generations, then fair enough. But it's a massive gamble with such a
But Steve,
invested fan base already there.
you can
you know?
gain a new audience without shitting
Yeah.
on 40 years of storytelling that came before.
But we saw that in The Last Jedi, John.
Yeah.
Destroy the past, kill it if
Yeah,
you
I know.
have to. And it's a rotten attitude to have,
Yeah.
you know, to do that. You know, you don't have to do it. You can still have an interesting, intriguing storyline there, introduce new characters, but make sure that you're catering for your original sort of
Yeah.
characters.
Protecting what made it great in the first place.
Yeah. And sign them off in a good way, you know.
Stephen, I says it time and again, Star Wars is a dead brand for me now. When I was growing up as a kid in the 90s, it was special. It had an aura about it. The
Yeah.
merchandise had an aura about it. You'd walk into a shop, it was limited.
Yep.
There wasn't pencil cases, and George started this with the prequel trilogy. It wasn't everywhere. Star Wars was a special brand. It was limited, and it had an aura. And now there is no aura. It's everywhere. They've absolutely shat on it from a great height. So much now that it's just dead. It's a dead brand. It's like Predator.
Yeah.
It's like Alien. It's fucking dead.
It's a shame.
It's dead.
Yeah.
Final
dead.
thing. It's dead. Such a French dead. Final thing, Stephen. I want to ask your thoughts on this because I read this earlier. That's why I searched it up. It's not
Yeah.
just because I've got some weird infatuation with Robert Pattinson. I heard a rumour that he might be appearing in the Penguin, to quote Benedict Cumberbatch,
Yeah.
Penguin. The Max series. We reacted to it, Stephen. It looks like a really interesting TV show. Obviously with Colin Farrell's Penguin. Really gritty mobster kind of show. I'll give my thoughts first and foremost, then I'll ask your thoughts, Stephen, very, very briefly, because I know time's going on and we need to round it up. But I don't think this is right, man. I understand it's been a bit of a gap between the Batman and this show and what's going to come in the Batman 2 when it finally does release. I don't think it's the right move putting Batman in this TV show. It's just very boots in the ground, criminal heavy.
Yeah.
It's very much from the Penguin's perspective, him trying to gain influence, greater influence, and become the top dog in Gotham from a criminal sort of standpoint. If you bring the Batman into that, I think you're overshadowing Penguin.
Yeah.
And you're just changing the whole show.
Yeah, there's two ways to look at it, John, and your way I agree with. Don't get him involved in this. This has to be the Penguin's thing. It has to be established that he is the main character. I get that it's a bit weird that Batman would not be referenced, but you get down the road of those Netflix Marvel series where you're referencing the big event. The big event. Obviously referencing 2012's Avengers film. And it was ridiculous. It was like, it sounds cheap. It sounds like he's clinging on to the coattails of the bigger sort of success thing. And if they did that in this, it would be similar. But at the same time, you're like, it's weird how they don't talk about Batman. It's weird how they don't reference him. But at the same time, in terms of artistic choice, I think keep him out of this. Keep him out of it just now anyway. This series has to have its own...
Je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, it has to have its own identity.
Yeah.
It has to sort of live up to its own sort of hype without relying on the other sort of side of it, the Batman, which doesn't need any promotion. I don't think this needs Batman in it, to be honest with you, to make it a success. What we've seen from that teaser so far looks incredible.
Yeah.
It looks like it's the same world, because it is, tonally and visually, and the way that it's portrayed in this sort of gritty mob drama is the way it should stay.
You could have Bruce Wayne in there.
Perhaps
Just
they could.
fleetingly.
Yeah.
He could be in there maybe, because we know he was close with Falcone. He may pop in and out, but not Batman.
No, keep it a minute.
You can't have Batman because he just overshadows it completely.
I'm going to watch this, and I'm not there for the Batman. I'm there for the Penguin.
Exactly. It's even in the fucking logo, the Penguin.
Yeah.
It's not the Batman, it's the Penguin.
Yeah.
And there's continuity, and you've got Matt Reeves' fingertips all over it, or prints all over it, because tips is weird. It's fucking fingerprints in your fingertips, to be fair. So it's not weird at all. So I suppose, you're going to have that creative connection there right off the bat. But I don't want to see Robert Pattinson in the back of the Penguin. I want to see him in the Batman.
The next time I want to see him is in the Batman too.
Yeah, and this could be done brilliantly. Hopefully better than what DC did with Jared Leto's Morbius, and obviously Tom Hardy's Venom, Eddie Brock. and that you could really build the character to a point where when he comes back in the maybe Batman 3 or the Batman 2, whenever it is, you've got a real connection with him. You've seen him grow.
Yeah.
And that adds levity, not levity, jeopardy, when the character's maybe about to meet a gruesome end because you've been through a journey with him.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it's a clever storytelling. And we never get a chance to see that in the movie sort of universe. We spoke about that. What it'd be like to have 2, potentially 3 Venom movies, and then he faces off against Tom Holland's Spider-Man or maybe Miles Morales in a big feature-length film.
Yeah.
Who would you side with? It's a real predicament for the audience because you've been on a journey. We never got to see that. We'll get to see that hopefully with the Batman and Penguin at some point.
Yeah, I think this
Keep
is
the Batman out.
this is a time for investing in that character and giving him some room to connect with the audience in this iteration. But I'm looking forward to it, John. Just before we round up, folks, just to remind you all that we are going to be looking at Quota Factory Season 3. We are going to be looking at Panchayat Season 3. Mirzapur Season 3 as well. It's all Season 3s here.
Yeah.
And obviously The Family Man later on this year as well. We're not
Season 3.
ignoring it. Obviously there's reasons we can't react to it just now, but we will get to it. And of course, introducing our new team member, Anamia Toma, who came in at the end of last month and has been doing exceptionally well with her own film reviews. Great cuts, John. Great thumbnails, by the way, and great branding in there as well. But I think it's all in the works.
My thumbnails could be
And we're
better.
going to be doing much more next month as well. Anamia is going to become one of our editors on the channel, and she'll be doing live stuff. We'll be doing live stuff. It will be more interactive on the channel, live and interactive, as I say.
Yeah, Steve, we spoke about that. We really do want to try and be more sort of connected to a community style kind of thing. Talking to people, interacting with them, building some sort of bond, if you like.
Relationship.
Parasocial relationship with people. And just trying to, reintegrate because we feel like we're slightly disconnected.
I think so, John. I think as the channel's been growing, I think the last time we did a Q&A, we were probably about 13,000-14,000 subscribers, and we've nearly doubled.
The trouble is, Steve, I just don't feel like I'm interesting enough.
You
to have a
can,
Q&A.
John. Yeah.
I just
we
feel
can.
like I'm a fucking plebington from Glasgow.
Oh, definitely not. I've done them and they've been a
Interesting
success, so
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's going to round it up though. This Unplanned MBE Live. I mean, we couldn't think of a title. So we just said MBE Live Unplanned. Because it was unplanned. It was completely off the cuff.
Yeah.
But we're that fucking good that it probably didn't look like it was unplanned. You probably think we had a sort of bullet point. I can't even say it. That's how off the cuff it was. I couldn't even think of it. Probably thought we had bullet points there outlining what we were going to speak about. I can assure you this was as off the cuff as it's ever fucking been on this channel. So there you go. That's how you do it. If you want to do live content, not make a complete arse of yourself, you need to have been round the walk, round the sort of racetrack for a Grand Prix length amount of time to be able to do that. But I digress. What's your thoughts on any of the stuff we've touched upon? Share your thoughts down below in the comments if you've got anything to say, if you're watching it after the event, because Lord knows we've had people in that not really been commenting, the bastards. You're not a bastard. I just take that back immediately. Comment down below though. Like the video if you've enjoyed it on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit the sort of following thing over on Twitch, whatever it is. I'm over on Twitch, I should know it by now. Notifications icon, whatever it is over there as well, to see us live over on a different platform doing the exact same thing as we are on YouTube because we're lazy. And all it's left to be said is until the next time. Thank you once again for watching us, and bye-bye. It didn't work. Bye-bye. There we go.
Hey.
Not that good.